Hello everyone, here is my brand spanking new SL90 Strength build. Still a little bit of a work in process, but he's pretty much there. So let me quickly show you the stats and equipment and we'll get on to some invasions. Like I said, SL level 90. I've got +9 weapons at the moment. If anyone, this is my first time playing at SL level 90, so if anyone out there who's played at SL level 90 before, would it be best if I just cut my losses and go straight up to +10, or would you stick at +9? Anyway, yes, so I'm using the heavy greatsword, mostly two-handed. I'm having a lot of fun with this weapon. A lot of unique challenges which I've been having to work past, but it's a very, very fun weapon to use. I've got the Javelin as well in my offhand. Really, I'm thinking about swapping the Javelin out, to be honest, but we'll get back into that later in the video. For the rings, I'm using Prisoner's Chain, Ring of Favour +3, and Havel's Ring +3, which is helping me with the heavier armour, so I can stack on some poise. For my armour setup, I've got Ferran Boots, Black Knight Gauntlets, the Millwood Knight Armour, and surprise, surprise, the Fallen Knight Helm. I've actually found an armour set that works with this fucking helmet, so I'm quite pleased with that. So for the stats, I've got 40 Vigour, well 35, and the Prisoner's Chain bumps that up to 40. Base Attunement, 30 Endurance, which gets bumped up to 35. 31 Vitality, which has been bumped up by the Prisoner's Chain. Strength at 40, Dex at 14, which lets me use the Javelin, and then Base Intelligence, Faith and Luck. So yeah, really enjoying this build at the moment. I'm still getting used to using this weapon, and I do take a few losses, but it's all in good fun. So let's go invade everyone. So the very first invasion I had after I completed the build, it was a nice little 2v1. So I managed to, I know that I tracked them into this graveyard, but I'm still not quite sure where they are, and then I find a lone gold. Very laggy gold. Go for an R1 and he fucking instant transmissions away. So it's like, alright, okay. So is it going to be one of these invasions? But it seems that that was just a momentary blip and his lag clears up quite quickly. So I didn't see the host initially, but can you see him? That's an oddly coloured gravestone. Oh look, it's the host! With his Millwood battle axe. So I'm not sure. I get the guard break on here. The thing is, I can get guard breaks quite easily using this ultra greatsword, which isn't surprising. But because the recovery frames are so long, it's very difficult to get up to the victim and take the riposte. So the host is rocking a pyromancy build and got the Sombro with your typical dark sword and shield. Almost able to get the riposte there, but the host is providing artillery support with the fireballs. So like I said, I'm still getting used to this greatsword. I mean, I had the drive finger on, as you saw in the previous video, for the entire time I was making the build, so I've had a little bit of practice, but it's sort of it's different when it's a 1v1 invasion and I have, the health advantage and the S disadvantage, and then coming into invasions with multiple phantoms and stuff, so it was a bit of a learning curve. And nice hit through the pillar there. Thank you, Miyazaki. Miyazaki give us and then Miyazaki take us away. So yeah, I had a bit of difficulty dealing, because it's so easy to reaction roll these sort of ultra grades, and when you're in a multi-phantom invasion, if they at least have a brain cell between them and they're able to reaction roll everything, it's very difficult to sort of do damage to them and avoid getting hit. I mean, obviously you're going to be wanting to make trades for this weapon. If someone isn't willing to make trades with you, then you're fucking up shit creek. Which is one of the reasons I put the Javelin on the build, because I like crossbows, and I like crossbows on pretty much all of my builds. But I've found through these invasions that the Javelin isn't really cutting it. Low-level invasions, the crossbow with the lightning bolts and exploding bolts do exceptionally well. They do quite high damage relative to the host or Phantom's health pool. But with these higher level invasions, the damage output even from the Avalyn isn't that fantastic. And they take up a lot of bolts. It takes up a lot of my carry capacity, and it takes up a lot of my stamina. So I'm thinking about swapping it out. And one of the main issues I've been having with this build is chipping through shields. GG, Mr. Phantom City Avalyn, I actually do get a kill there. But yeah, so chipping through shields, and people who are going to play very passively, and all they're going to do is turtle and roll, I'm going to want to chip through shields, and obviously because I'm not using an infused weapon, I can't get any good chip damage, and if all they're going to do is block and then roll, like, there's very little I can do to counter that. And even having a crossbow that can do like fire damage or lightning damage from the bolts isn't really enough. So I'm thinking about getting rid of the Avalyn and having something like the Manservant hatchet in my left hand, which is lighter, which is good. So I'll be able to put on a little bit more heavier armor, but then I'll also be able to get through shields, and I'll be able to change up my timings and get some chip damage. So I managed to get the guard break there, and obviously poor guy isn't watching his stamina. Get another guard break, and he's dead. So GG, sir. Good fight. So for the next invasion, this one doesn't go quite as well as the last one, unfortunately, and it's my own fault really. It's basically me overestimating how much poise damage this Ultra Greatsword can do against like weapon arts, for example. But it starts off quite well. We've got a co-op group here. One of them's a Faith build, and the other one's using the Farron meme sword. I think that's the meme sword anyway. He doesn't go for L1s, so it's very difficult for me to tell, to be honest. The other guy's using the Moonlight Greatsword. Excellent weapon. Never used it myself because I've never really done a proper intelligence build. So we have a little standoff here because they haven't. The host hasn't used the contraption to lower the stairs down. So it's sort of. I want him to do that to give me a route, give me an escape route if things go pear-shaped for me, which he kindly obliges. I mean, well done. Thank you for playing into my hand. So, yeah, unfortunately, there's still a door that's been locked up there, but I can easily get out to the followers. So, a blue gets summoned in, and this guy was quite good. He was using the Warden Twin Blades, and he played quite passive the entire time. I saw the Silver Eagle kite shield on his back, and I instantly thought scrub, because there's no reason for you to carry that on your back. I suppose if you have it blessed infused, then maybe. But yeah, I underestimate how good this guy is, and he's very good at reaction rolling my Ultra Great, even when I swap to one-handed. So I'm able to get some good damage in with the Avalyn though, eventually. You see here, I whiffed my R1. I deliberately whiffed an R1, and then when he came in to punish, he got a face full of Avalyn, which is generally a good tech to use. It's especially good if you've got zero latency as well, because you won't get that bullshit lag poise before the Avalyn bolts hit. So the other guy, the guy with the Moonlight Greatsword, drops down. I try and get a. You see, I missed out what I thought was I missed, but this is some spectacular lag. You'll see in a second that damage will register. Boom, there it is. Fucking hell. That was some incredible lag there. So I'll try and go for some verticality here. Fuck up. So I'm not sure where the other guy went to. I think he dies off screen, either to the followers or to gravity. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he killed himself too. Yeah, see, there we go. He died. Maybe he killed himself so he could get resummoned. But we don't see him again for the fight. Blue puts me in the blender. He's obviously got quite a good build. I don't think he's running a hollow build. Yeah, finally managed to get some damage on him with this ultra greatsword. I mean, like I said, Jesus Christ, sometimes it's hard to hit people with this weapon, but when you do, you can really, really do some fucking damage. Nice turn and burn, still works. The unfortunate thing about the two-handed R1 turn and burns, obviously, because it's vertical, you got your vertical swing. If you've got sort of multiple phantoms sort of fanned out, you're not going to be able to hit all of them. And there, I managed to take care of the blue. He sticks around for the backswing on the R1, so GG that guy. And so I've got the host on his own. And he's, you know, he's pretty competent. He's able to get a nice backstab there. And for someone who's using the Farron meme sword, I don't think he presses L1 the entire time I'm with him, and he's got that the ethereal oak shield, which lets you do the weapon art. I don't think it has parry on it. Yeah, you can do the weapon art, so you can bust out the Farron meme sword parry, which is a pretty cool tech to use for that weapon. See, he gets another backstab whilst I'm fucking R1ing. So this guy isn't nothing. And whilst we're duking out, another blue gets summoned, and sort of this is sort of where it goes wrong. So I underestimate the blue and I underestimate his weapon. Verticality, yay! So he's using Gundir's help and he's going for his champion charge. I don't have a parry shield, so I can't do fucking shit about that, unfortunately, apart from roll through it. And I should have healed here. I think that's sort of where I went wrong. Managed to get a nice little through the door ambush on him. Can't quite finish him off before the host arrives. So yeah, champion charge. I try and R1 him out of it. I thought that my greatsword would be able to break his champion charge, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. And I get the point down from the blue. Well done. But the host gives me a bow, so GG to the host. So for the next invasion, it's just a 1v1, a little duel by the bonfire, registered trademark, with another ultra player. This guy was using the Cathedral Uggs. I might have to have a look into that weapon, because that does, for an up and down ultra greatsword, it's pretty cool, and I've heard good things about it. So I might have a look at that, see what the weight and damage is like. So I'm trying to space him out here. I'm trying to work on my spacing with this weapon because I'm fucking sucking. So he's going for these charged R2 baits, and I'm like, well, okay, I could try and space that out, or I could just go for the easy Avalon punish. And you know, if there was ever any doubt, sort of the usefulness of crossbows in sort of these situations, then just look at that. You know, stomp weapon art for the ultra greatsword isn't as good as stomp launches for like the Zweihander, but you know, the knockdown is still pretty cool. So GG that guy. Right, so the next invasion is a rather bloody long one, unfortunately. I mean, the first part of the invasion, I managed to deal with the Phantom relatively quickly. I dropped down into this room, and they're still up on the rafters trying to cheese out the two Corvian Knights, which honestly is probably the best way to deal with these two, because going in there together is fucking suicide, because those two mean business. So luckily I've got the Avalon, so I'm able to do some nice damage from range and try and knock them off to get them down into the Corvian Knights. And either by mistake or on purpose, the host drops down. And you see, I completely forgot that the Corvian Knights are able to do damage to invaders as well, so I'm in a bit of a tight spot as well. I can't just go in there R1 mashing, hoping to hit whilst the Corvians are in there, because they can do some serious damage to me as well. And you know, the host and the Phantom are still fighting it out. The host is able to kill the one with the crow talons, which I always have fucking problems with that guy. He always gives me grief. And I'm able to take out the Phantom with the Moonlight Greatsword. You know, the running attack on these Uggs aren't spectacular, but they, I think they're perfectly serviceable. They're good enough. So now I thought this one was pretty much in the bag, and I kind of make a mistake here. What I should have done is be blocking the door and just waiting for the Corvian Knight to deal with him, but unfortunately, because I didn't do that, he manages to escape. If I was blocking the door, I would have been able to bat him away. But he's on the run now, he's doing a runner, and there's sort of very little I can do, and that fucking Corvian doing damage to me is a pain in my ass. See, the classic guy, he hasn't got his camera aimed behind him, so I'm able to get him with the running R1. So I'm not sure what. I think he was trying to get back to the bonfire, so he could resummon his friend. But he's sort of panicking a little bit here, and he's turtling. And see, this invasion especially sort of goes with the point I was making earlier about troubles with ultra greatsword builds and dealing with people who are acting very passively or just turtling. This guy does both. And I get quite frustrated, mostly with myself, on how difficult it is. I'm finding how difficult it is to counter, because if he's just going to turtle, and block all my damage, and then roll away from the second swing, it's like there's almost nothing I can do about it. So he's got the cat ring on, so he doesn't take any fall damage, annoyingly. So all he's doing is turtling and running. I mean, that Shield of Want, you know, as cliche as it is and sort of associated with scrubs as it is, it's a pretty good medium shield if all you want to do is turtle. So yeah, we get into an extended game of this, of him running around. He does put up a little bit of a fight, bless him. Like he doesn't completely do ring around the rosies. He does put up a bit of a fight. So I'll give him that. But I was mostly frustrated with myself on sort of, obviously this guy wasn't great at PvP, and I was having such difficulty putting him down, putting him in the ground, that I was getting quite annoyed with myself. I suppose the little bit of latency between us didn't really help, but I mean, you know, that's by the by. I try and delay my weapon at R1. My weapon at R2, sorry, it fucks up and takes up so much stamina, it's absolutely insane. Going for a trading war. For the few times he allows me to. You see, I mean, I've got the heavy bolts and the lightning bolts, and sort of the chip damage you get. Obviously he's got 100% block shield, so the heavy bolts do absolutely fuck all. The lightning bolts do very minimal chip damage. So this is why I'm thinking the Man Serpent Hatchet is probably the way to go instead of the Avalon. I mean, I could always hard swap to the Avalon if needs be, if I need a ranged option. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go for the Man Serpent Hatchet or something along those lines that can deal chip damage. And obviously it's faster, and it, you know, people aren't going to be able to reaction roll it quite as well. And you see, like, he's going at it. He's doing quite good damage with that greatsword. And this is what was most frustrating, is because I am completely unable to hit him, and he's able to just gradually chip me out. See, I swapped to the Follower's Javelin here, because it was, I don't know, out of desperation, because I was so sick of him reaction rolling my swings. And I try and sort of put a bit more pressure onto him. Try and go for the fucking weapon art. I don't know, out of desperation or just trying to look cool, but yeah, that fucks up. See, I'm out of Estus now, and this is, you know, a blessing in disguise really, because when you're low on health and you make yourself look vulnerable, it's a great way to get in passive and turtling players to open up and come and attack you, open themselves up for taking damage, which is kind of what happens here. I mean, I go back to my old crossbow turn and burn standby at this point, because I'm like, right, I can't really make any trades because I can't afford the health, but I can do crossbow turn and burns. But because he's sort of swapping between straight sword and great sword, I'm sort of not able to easily predict or react to his running and rolling attacks, unfortunately. So I'll book it at this point. I'm too low on health. I haven't got any Estus. Managed to get a nice little ambush there. He fucks up with a running attack. I think if I'd had my crossbow loaded, then I might have been able to finish him off there, but, you know, wasn't to be. And again, you see, like, because I'm vulnerable, he's making mistakes, he's acting stupid and trying to come in for the quick kill. It's a dangerous game I'm playing, obviously, but it's quite effective. So I hear him applying his lightning blade. I'm like, right, this is now or never, people. I was hoping that the Corvian Knight was still alive, but unfortunately, it looks like they've already dealt with him. Yeah, again, sort of his aggression was sort of was his downfall, really. I'm sort of like, I'm toying with the idea of using a divine blessing. I'm sort of, you know, at this point, do I really want to use a divine blessing? But I was quite frustrated with myself, given sort of how badly I was losing. So I ended up using a divine blessing because I wanted to see this through to the end because I knew I could beat this guy. I just needed to not play like a fucking idiot. Yep, crossbow turn and burns. Still working, even at soul level 90. So yeah, you know, the Javelin is completely useless, but it's I would have been better swapping to something else, I think. Thinking about it, maybe I could keep the Javelin in the left hand and hard swap to the Man Serpent Hatchet instead of having it in the left hand. That might be a better idea, actually. Maybe swap to the Abalist instead of the Javelin. You see, I still haven't figured out how sort of what I want this build to end up looking like. It's sort of still a work in progress. We have a little L1 wiggle and a bit of a standoff. I think we understand each other. I'm getting desperate, and he understands that. And he's got fucking Estus for days, as hosts are wont to do. Unfortunately, I let him have a little too much room here, and he's able to get up the ladder. I'm not able to knock him down. Frustratingly enough. And this was especially annoying. I wasn't able to roll quick enough, or I don't know, he managed to get some easy damage on me there, which was very frustrating given sort of what a vulnerable state I'm in at this point. These are the twirls of frustration because I'm not able to fucking kill him. Oh dear. And he goes into the summon room and I'm like, oh fuck, what's he gonna do? And of course he tries to summon another phantom and I debate, well, shall I go back into the level and hide? I'm like, no, fuck it, let's just go in there, go down swinging. You know, all I'm gonna do is prolong my own death if I go out and hide with no healing items. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go in swinging, and fucking serendipity, I managed to get the kill. And this is my new gesture for this character, the prostrate gesture. So I think that was quite appropriate for that one. So GG. So for the next invasion, short but sweet. After the prolonged agony of the previous one, so I find the party down there dealing with the one of the Corvian Knights. Bastard Corvian Knights. So dropped the silver cat and I dropped down, and it looks like the host is using the sniper crossbow, which is something you never see given sort of it's so fucking it's so fucking heavy. There's always better choices than the sniper crossbow. So get a little bit of time to swap to my Chloranthy, and unfortunately this host doesn't last awfully long, and he gets rock caught with an ultra great. So GG. I'm sorry. So the next invasion is another tale of woe for me, unfortunately. I don't make it at the end of this invasion. So I see the party down there, they're dealing with all the flies, and from the few invasions I've had down in this area, this can be quite tricky if you're invading someone and all the flies are alive, because although they don't do a lot of damage, they are a massive pest. They have a knockdown attack, and the bleed build-up that they do can be quite frustrating. You see all the fucking enemies there, these massive swarms. They can be quite tricky to deal with. So the guys come down here to deal with the crystal lizard. You know, Why not, eh? I don't know if they were expected to be able to get through the fog door to get to Dunnel. Well, the white gives me a bow. I don't know. Maybe he would have let me 1v1 the host if I didn't fucking shoot him with the Avalon. But you know, you live, you learn, really. Going for that sweet perseverance cheese with the Black Knight Greatsword. You know, it's a great weapon art and everything. If you're up against sort of groups of people, groups of gankers and co-opers, you sort of don't know how to counter it. But against anyone with half a brain cell, then they're just gonna fucking roll out after one hit. Come the flies, and I get caught in the doorway and between the flies, and I can't get out. Unfortunately, they're dealing with all the bugs. Sillily trying to make a trade with that fucking demon great axe. It's not a weapon I've ever used before. A bit stuck trying to get through the wall, trying to get through the door. They put me in the blender. Great magic shield and a Black Knight fucking shield. Jesus Christ. Fucking really? Like that thing didn't have enough stability already. Oh, Mr. Blue's shown up. Hello, Mr. Blue. You see those flies do some damage, so they were able to chip down the blue, make him easy pickings. Bang, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Take those two for Estus. Before I get slapped in the back. See, I keep trying to go for that stomp, and I suppose, like I said, anyone who knows the weapon, they're just going to circle around for a backstab. Almost get the white there. Unfortunately, I was too slow on the crossbow, I'm not able to finish him off. And unfortunately, this is where it all goes wrong. He lags out, and then I get fucking... all my health goes in one hit. So, that sucks. GG, fellas. Thanks for the blue. So the next invasion straight afterwards. Oh, down with the flies again. Hopefully it's a different party, but hopefully I can redeem myself from that last embarrassing lag fest where I got sort of completely one-shotted. So I try and look for a plunge attack there, but I was sort of a bit impatient, and I probably should have waited until they were underneath you to get a plunge attack. But I wanted to get down there and do some damage. Fucking, I don't know if he was poisoned or was using power within, that guy, because I broke his tears with the running R1 and then he instantly died afterwards. So I don't think it was the bleed that did that. He must have been using power within. Get some nice R1 spam in there. Deals such good damage, this greatsword. One of the main points I like it so much is the fucking damage it deals. Can't quite finish off that guy. Get fucking slapped in the back with a greatsword. Get my camera stuck because I wasn't looking where I was going. Fucking fireballs. Host on low health, and he gets fucking caught. Maybe he ran out of heals, or he just wasn't minding his HP. But GG, guys, good fight. Right, so for the final invasion of the video, not down in the fly room, unfortunately, as much as I enjoyed it the last two times. I come across one guy, well, what I thought was one guy, which then turns into two guys. Running face builds, it looks like. Fucking up and down swing, man. If you don't get them, it's just so difficult to fucking land it. The horizontal swing is definitely superior in this situation. Yeah, some nice damage when they're trying to circle around me. And then 2 guys turns into 3 as the Sunbro rolls up. I don't know what the fuck they were doing out there, given where it spawned me. They must have been, I don't know, hiding out there or something. So he's going for his Cestus Perseverance cheese for fucking God knows what reason. And he gets a little bit too cocky. He tries to parry my Ultra Greatsword, which is always amusing to see, and he gets fucking smushed. So GG, gold bro. Yeah, I'm doing some nice damage with that fucking Greatsword, man. That's really, really nice. I think the host is using a Drake Blood Greatsword actually. Yeah, get some nice damage in with the outline there. You know, as much as sort of I'm having trouble with this build, the Avalanche is always nice. Yep, good luck. Hope that heal was worth it, mate. So now it's just me and the host, and you know, bless him, he keeps on fighting to the end. He doesn't, you know, go straight into the boss, which, you know, would probably be the smart thing to do. Or so because then he could just homeward bone out and summon his friends again and go back in with full Estus and full health. But no, he fights to the end. He doesn't go back and resummon. I don't know whether he wanted to or what, but he keeps fighting to the very end. It's a little bit of a drawn out fight, unfortunately, because again he's sort of turtling quite a lot with that Shield of Want, much like the other guy was. But fortunately he's not quite as reactive, and I'm able to catch him a few times. Yep. Avalon punish. See, I'm trying to keep him away from old Freed over there. Try and keep him away from where the summon signs might be. He's doing some good damage. Well, I mean, I think that was counter damage, or counter poke damage. But he's doing some quite good damage with that Drake Blood. It's not a bad sword if you make your build correct. He's got that the fancy Hollow Slayer moveset, which a lot of people like. I'm not sure if the amount of poise you get in that on the Drake Blood is the same as the Hollow Slayer. Like, I don't think I've used either of those weapons, to be honest. I don't really like the moveset on them. But yeah, if it's got the same amount of sort of poise frames as the Hollow Slayer, then it's quite a good choice. Almost game. Instinctively go to my gesture menu, but alas, I wasn't able to kill him. I mean, if it was me and I was getting my shit pushed in that much, I probably would have just run to the boss fog and just had done with it. But no, he wanted to see it out to the end like a trooper. Unfortunately, because this guy was willing to make more trades than the other guy, I'm able to end this fight a little bit sooner than I was able to before. But still, it's a little bit prolonged, which is quite frustrating. This, I guess, is another reason why I need to be swapping to a quicker weapon, so I can have more instead of just going for trades all the time and prolonging the fight. I could actually pressure them a lot more. But it's all about the aesthetics, people. I mean, it's all well and good having a highly optimized build for every situation, but I think you lose a little bit of something, you know. My character is burdened Ilva, and she is burdened by the trauma of all the killings that she's had to do with her greatsword. So if I swapped to a heavy longsword, that wouldn't quite have the same sort of impact for the character. Yep, so he shows me he's out of Estus. either on purpose or by accident. But sort of breathed a bit of a sigh of relief there, since I'm only on 1 Estus myself. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, please just die. Just don't want to drag this fight on any longer like the other one. There we go, so GG guys. Alright, that was my soul level 90, so any suggestions, please leave a comment, and see you next time.